Hello, welcome to video number 10 in the series Hebrew, Ivri, Ewe, Eve, the Black Man. My name is Seiram Ajanku. The picture in the background is that of an Eve blue and white fringed kente cloth from AdairAfricanTextiles.com. This cloth is circa 1930s to 1950s. Yes, the Eves do wear fringes. This practice is no longer in general use, though. Sorry to disappoint you. I hope you know, by the way, that wearing fringes does not automatically mean that a person is an Israelite. There were and still are many non-Israelite peoples who wear fringes all day long. What do the scriptures say about fringes anyway? What is their purpose? We have the reference in Numbers chapter 15, verse 38 to 41. It reads, "Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue, and it shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them, and that you seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to go a whoring, that you may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy unto your God. I am the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God." So clearly, the scripture is telling us that the purpose of wearing the fringe is to remember the commandments of the Most High. Now, let me tell you about fringes in the Ewe culture. In the olden days, when writing was not popular among the general populace, if you had important information which you could not afford to forget, you would tie something to the corner of your cloth to serve as a reminder. Often, people would tie strings of thread to the end of their cloth. The color depended on what the person thought would best jog their memory. This practice is mostly done away with, though, since now almost all Ewes can read and write, either in the Ewe language and or other languages. But it's not entirely done away with, not completely. People still tie things that they don't want to lose or forget, things such as written messages, money, valuable jewelry. They tie these things to the edge of their cloth. It's a cultural practice to tie something of value, which is not to be forgotten or to be lost, to the edge of one's cloth. Another memory tool used in olden days in Everland was the practice of placing a stone or pile of stones or rocks at a particular place. We see the patriarchs doing this a lot in the scriptures. So we just learned about the purpose of wearing fringes on the corners of one's clothes, which is the purpose of remembering the commandments of Yah. We found this in the scriptures, and we know this from the Ewe culture. Question: do you wear fringes? Why and why not? Do your fringes remind you of the commandments of Yah? What other tools do you use to remember Yah's commands? Those are questions to ponder upon. Now, let's go to the topics. It's time for a review. We've done 20 words since the last review, which was video number 5. So it's time for another review. Personally, I like the reviews because they offer an opportunity to pack the names into one place and remind us of what we've learned. It also gives us a chance to make any necessary updates or corrections. These are the names since the last review. We talked about Cain and Abel, Abraham, Sarah, Moses, Aaron, Mount Sinai, Samuel, Goliath, Golgotha, Soko, Azekah, Ephes-Dammim, Shafat, Yigal, Hoshea, Ephraim, Caleb, Canaan, and Hamashiach. The culture points to review are the marriage customs, trial of the unfaithful wife by the bitter water, the practice of the linguist, and the Exodus commemorations. Finally, we will look at a couple of new names. They are Joseph, and I bet your eye never spotted this name in the Bible, but it's Alon Baku, and this will be at the end of this presentation. So let's get started. All right, so here we are again with our table of 6 columns. The first column, reading from left to right, is the mistransliterated name as we know it. The second column is the consonantal spelling as it is in the Masoretic text. The next column, which is the third, is the meaning from the transliteration. So the meaning that the modern Hebrew has given us. The fourth column is the name restored back into the Ebe language, the ancient Hebrew. And the fifth column is the meaning in the Ebe language. And then the final and sixth column is the references, the Bible references. For these names, I usually have 2 references, but for the sake of time and space on this presentation, most of them I only put 1 reference, but there are so many references that further validate all that is being presented here. All right, so let's start with the name Cain. Cain or Cain. Cain is spelled Kaf Yod Nun, which is K-Y-N. The modern Hebrew meaning is possession. The name restored in the Ebe is Cain, and it means to till the land or to search the ground. And we have the reference in Genesis where we are told that Cain was a tiller of the land. Next, Abel or Hebel. It is spelled H-B-L, which is He Bet Lamed. The modern Hebrew meaning is a vapor or breath. The name restored into Eve is Agbe, Le, or He, Agbe. And Agbele means hold on to life, and He, Agbe, means raise life. And we have the reference for raise life in Genesis chapter 4, verse 2 as well, where it tells us that Abel is a keeper of sheep. And then we have a very interesting reference in the book of Jasher for the meaning Agbe Le, which is hold onto life. It is found in Jasher chapter 1, verse 13. And it reads, "And the name of the other she called Abel, for she said, in vanity we came into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it." So this further validates that name. Next is Abram in Abraham. Abram is spelled A-V-R-M, which is Aleph, Vet, Resh, Mem. And Abraham is spelled A-V-R-H-M, which is Aleph, Vet, Resh, He, Mem. And the meaning ascribed to it is exalted father. And that's for Abram, and father of multitude for Abraham. So the name restored in Eve, we have Abram as Abba-Me, which means a man of war. And we have Abba-Tohame, which means a man of circumcision. and we have both references in Genesis and in Jasher. Next, we have Sarah and Sarah. So the first one is SRY, which is Shin Resh Yod. And the new name, which the Most High gave her, is SRH, which is Shin Resh He. So so the first one, which is the SRY, is transliterated to mean princess. And the second one, the new name, is transliterated to mean noble woman. These names restored are as follows. SRY is Sron, which means wife. And SRH is Sarah or Sarah. Sarah means blessed, and Sarah means congregation. And the reference is also found in Genesis chapter 17, verse 16. Next, we have the name Moses. And Moses is spelled MSH, which is Mem Shin He. And the meaning ascribed to it is drawn. The name restored for Moses has about three possibilities. The first one is Mosa, which means strong face. The second one is Mosa, which means face law. Mo is face and Se means law. Then the last one, we have Mosa, which means the road is arduous. And as we can see, all these names very well fit the patriarch Moses. And the reference is there as well in Exodus 33 to 34. Next, we have Aaron. Aaron is spelled AHRWN, which is Aleph, Hey, Resh, Wow, Nun. And the meaning ascribed is light bringer. The name restored in Ebe. Here again, we have a couple of possibilities. If looking at the letters, according to Holali Togbewonyo at Chosen Vessels, the Preacher's Channel, which is on YouTube, the letters represent double, it represents son of double leadership. You have the Aleph, and you have the Resh, which both mean leader, and then you have Nun, which means son. Yes. So, and also now the face value meaning of this name, if you pay attention to it, you have Alon. Alon means he will agree, and then you have Alo. Alo means the arm or the branch. So we have these references also in Exodus chapter 4 to chapter 40. Next, we have Mount Sinai. Sinai is spelled Syny, and it is Samek Yod Nun Yod, and the meaning ascribed to it is thorny. The name restored in the Ebe is Senaye, which means the law was given to me. Senaye. Then you have Yanasa, which means Yah has given the law or has provided the law. One meaning contributed by Holali Togbewonyo at Chosen Vessels, the Preacher's Channel, is Sanaya. Sanaya means the law gives life, the law gives breath. And this reference is found in Exodus 31 to 34. All right, now we're at Samuel. Samuel is spelled Smwal. That is Shin Mem Waw Aleph Lamed. The meaning ascribed in the modern Hebrew is his name is El. The name restored has two possibilities. The first one is Semo. Semo means God's way, or the way of the law of God, which is God's way. The second possibility is Seme. Seme means a person of the law or a person of the law of God or a man of God. So you have those two possibilities. And the reference is in 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 18. Next, we have Goliath. Goliath is spelled Glyt, which is Gimel Lamed Yod Tav. And the meaning ascribed to it in the modern Hebrew is splendor. And we explained that this couldn't be since Goliath, that name was probably given to him by Hebrews, by ancient Eves, because he was an adversary. And so they wouldn't have highlighted anything splendid about him. So the name restored is Goliath, Goliath, which means Goliath means strong core, Goliath, and or strong core or tough abdomen, and Ta means head. So this name tells us they're simply telling us the story through the name. So something about a very tough person and something about his head. And we can find out all the details about this in 1 Samuel chapter 17. So the next name is Golgotha. Golgotha is Gimel Lamed Tav, which is GLGLT. The meaning ascribed is skull. The name restored in the Eve is Golia, Golia, Ta. Here again, we have Golia and we have Ta. And of course, I'm sure you've already guessed it is the head of Goliath. So Golgotha, the place named this name, is telling us that this Goliath probably has his head over here. This is the beauty of the oral tradition. So we have several references listed here. The next name is Soko. It is spelled SWKH, which is Shin Wow Kaf He. And the meaning ascribed is bushy. The name restored is actually names of two towns in Eveland, because according to the reference in 1 Samuel, this Soko is the name of two towns within Judah. So the name Soko is the name of two towns in Eveland. Today, you just Google Soko. You Google actually Soko Day. Soko Day means one who hails from Soko. So we have those two towns. And then we have a third town, which is also found in Everland, and it's found in 1 Samuel 17. And it's the next name, which is Azekah. It is spelled Azkh, which is Ein Zain Kaf He. And the meaning ascribed is dug over. In Eve, the name restored is Ajake. Aja is the name of the royal tribe within Eveland, and Ajake means the root of Aja. And the reference is also found in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 1. Next, we have Ephes-Dammim. Ephes-Dammim is AFSDMYM, which is Aleph, Fe, Samek, Dalet, Mem, Yod, Mem. And the meaning ascribed is the edge of blood. And the name restored is Ephes-Demi, and that means his law has delivered us. And it looks like my video shot is covering up the reference, but I'm sure it's also still in 1 Samuel chapter 17. All right, let's go to the next table. All right, this is the last table. So we have here Shafat. Shafat is SPT, and that is Shin He Tet. That looks like a tet. And the meaning ascribed is judged, or he has judged. The name restored in the Ebe is Sepota, and that means the Lord has gotten a leader. So Yah has gotten a leader. and the reference is in Numbers chapter 13, verse 1 to 2. And in other references where this Shafat is found, all the people bearing this name, Shafat, happen to be leaders. The next name is Yagal. Yagal is Ygal and is Yod Gimel Aleph Lamed. And the meaning ascribed is he redeems. The name restored in the Ebe is Yagali, which means Yah still is. The reference is again in Numbers. These are all the names from the last video. That's video number 9. So that was mainly focused on Numbers chapter 13. All right, the next name here is Hosea, and that is HWS or SHA. The root word, however, is YS or SHA. So we'll focus on the root word. And it is Yod Shin Ein. Yod Shin Ein. The meaning ascribed in the modern Hebrew is salvation. The name restored in Ebe, the YSA, Yod Shin Ein, is Yeshia, Yeshia, which means hand, the hand of Yah. So it's the same Yashi, and it is the hand of Yah. Next, we have Ephraim. Ephraim is Afrym, which is Aleph, Fe, Resh, Yod, Mem. And the meaning ascribed is double ash heap or double fruitfulness. That is the modern Hebrew transliterated meaning. The name restored is Ephraim, Ephraim, and that means he has purchased me or he has bought me. And in the last video, we talked about why Joseph would have named one of his sons this name. The next name is Caleb, which is KLV, which is Kaf Lamed Vet. And the meaning ascribed in the modern Hebrew is dog. The name restored in the Ebe is Kalevi. Kalevi means son of courage or courageous child, son of courage. The next name is Canaan. That is Knan, which is Kaf Nun Ein Nun. And the meaning ascribed to it in the modern Hebrew is lowland. The name restored in the Ebe is Kananu or Kenanu or Kana or Kanana, and it all means the same thing. That is, the soil yields. It's a fertile land, and we have tons of scriptures to prove that that the soil was very fertile. So the next one is Hamashiach or Mashiach, and it is Mysch, which is Mem Shin Yod Chet. And the meaning ascribed is anointed one in the modern Hebrew. In Eve, the name restored is Ametiatia, and that means the chosen one. In the last video, we talked about the meaning of anointed one. Anointed one is Amesiamina, but Ametiatia, which phonetically is close to Hamashiach. Hamashiach is the chosen one, and Yesu is who is referred to as the Ametiatia. All right, we have arrived at the review of the cultural points since video number 5. Since then, we've discussed 4 more cultural points. So let's review them. We discussed the ever ancient Hebrew marriage customs and showed how that they are the same as the biblical Hebrew marriage customs. The ancient Hebrew marriage customs are in 4 parts. We have Yom Etiti, which is the betrothal. We have the courtship. We don't really have a name for that because it's such a long period. It's just being. And then we have Hopufu, which is knocking. And then we have Akpedada, which is the Thanksgiving. So I have sectioned them off in A, B, C, and D. So A, the biblical betrothal. Betrothal. It's a discussion that it begins with a discussion and ends with an agreement between the fathers, right? So we have a reference in Genesis chapter 2 verse 18, and as well as Luke. And we have Mary being betrothed to Joseph as an example. In every traditional betrothal, we call it yometiti, which literally means the pursuit. They're literally pursuing the girl for you, or you know. And it also the same starts with a discussion and ends with an agreement between the fathers or disagreement between the fathers, if you're not so fortunate. So B, we have the marriage, the biblical courtship, and the references in Genesis 29. We have Jacob serving for Rachel, and then later for Leah. So in the ever courtship, the two learn, this is a time where they study each other without being physical. The man serves his future in-laws and also gives gifts regularly. The lady helps her future mother-in-law with house chores and learns how to prepare her future husband's favorite meals and things he likes and doesn't like and things like that. C, we have the knocking, the biblical knocking, the references in Genesis chapter 24. And we have Rebecca is asked for her opinion, her consent, whether or not she wants to go. And also we see that her bride price is given at this point. Uh, and also we have in Genesis 34, Shechem vows to give whatever is asked for Dinah, whatever is asked. So he's offering a bride price of whatever they wanted to mention. In Eber culture, the knocking is called hopopo, as I mentioned, and it means knocking. So it's the same idea here. Number part D. So we have the actual marriage ceremony, which we call akpedada. Here, the bride price is presented. There's a lot of eating and drinking and enjoyment. Yes, the party is on. And the same with the Ebe marriage ceremony. The the bride price is presented. There's eating, drinking, enjoyment, and the whole affair is called apedada. And actually, after it's all done, the newlyweds they find time and go and thank those who attended their ceremony. All right, let's move on to the next cultural point. All right, the next cultural point is the trial of the unfaithful wife by the bitter water. We find this reference in Numbers chapter 5 from verse 11 to 29. Verse 24 reads, "And he shall cause the woman to drink the bitter water that causes the curse, and the water that causes the curse shall enter into her and become bitter." In a comparative study of the customs of the Negroes of West Africa, formerly known as the Guinea Coast, Frenchville writes, "They make them drink from a calabash of palm wine in which herbs are mixed. This beverage is comparable to the bitter water which the Jews made their wives drink out of jealousy in Numbers chapter 5. This is Frenchville in 1766, page 119. For more details of this custom, you should see video number 7. The practice of the linguist, also called chiami. The reference is in Exodus chapter 4, verse 10 to 17. Moses and Aaron are known as the first chief to linguist dynamic of note in the scriptures, the Bible, with Moses being the chief or the leader and Aaron being the mouthpiece, the linguist. The linguist is the mouthpiece of the leader. Exodus 4, verse 16 says, "He shall speak for you to the people, and he shall be your mouth, and you shall be as God to him." This is in practice in Everland, and I go into more details of it in video number 7. And we have uh, a reference from JSK Bologno, who writes, "Ever kings and chiefs do not officially speak directly to their subjects or any addressee, especially during political duties, ceremonies, and at public events. This is done through the medium of Chiami, who then becomes the king or chief's speech surrogate." So also in video number 7, we talked about the significance of the linguist staff, which is which in the scripture is Aaron's staff. All right. We also talked about in the last video, we talked about the Exodus commemorations. That was video number 9. The Eves, or ancient Hebrews, commemorate their most recent exodus, which landed them where they are now in present day, the West African coast. They have had many exiles, as I explained in that video. They call the commemorative festival Hubechuchu. It is celebrated on the first Saturday of November each year in Everland till today. All right, we are now at the new names. The first is Joseph. The reference used here is Genesis chapter 30, verse 23 to 24, and it reads, "And she conceived and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph, and said, The Lord shall add to me another son." Joseph is found in Strong's H3130, and it is spelled YWSF, which is Yod Waw Samek Fe. The root word, however, is found in Strong's H3254, and it is spelled YSF, which is Yod Samek Fe. The modern Hebrew meaning ascribed is Yah has added, which is Yud He Vav He has added. And of course, we can see that the scriptural reference on which this is based is Genesis 30, verse 24, which says, "And she called his name Joseph, and said, The Lord shall add to me another son." Now, here is a definition of the root word in Eve, YSF. The Y stands for Yahweh, which is the Most High, Yah. The S is Se, and the F is Fu. It means Yah has heard my suffering. Yah Se Fu. Yah Se Se. Remember, we talked about Shema, which is Asama. Are you hearing it? So here we have Yah Se Fu. The Lord has heard my suffering. Yah has heard my suffering. The other meaning of this name is Yasefu, which means Yah has put a stop to my suffering. That is Yasefu. Yasefu. He has put a stop to my suffering. The scripture reference is where Joseph was. Well, in the scripture, we have Joseph being Rachel's first son after years of barrenness and shame, because culturally, a woman without bearing, a woman with no children, is like a fruit tree without any fruit, which is usually cut down and used as firewood. So this is a very, very serious condition that Rachel had. So you can only imagine when she was able to bear Joseph, she would have rightly named him, "The Lord has heard my suffering," or "The Lord has put a stop to my suffering." And in Genesis 30, 23, she did say, it does say, and she conceived and bare a son and said, God hath taken away my reproach. So Joseph is Yasefu and Yasefu. I know it's hard to differentiate the sir and the sir, but eventually you'll get it as we continue to put forward these names and the pronunciation, it will stick. All right, so let's go to the next name. All right. So the second name is pronounced Alon Bahut according to the Strong's Concordance online. Alon Bahut. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Anyway, the reference is found in Genesis 35, verse 8, and it reads, But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak, and the name of it was called Alon Bahut. Alon Bahuth is found in Strong's H439, and it is spelled ALWN which is Aleph Lamed Waw Nun Bet Kaf Waw Tav. The modern Hebrew meaning ascribed is oak of weeping, and this is because the translation mentions an oak tree. In Ewe, ALWN is Alon. Alon means sleep. Alon means sleep. BKW is Baku. 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 It means cheat death. Ba means cheat in this context, in this case, and ku means death. I can almost hear my Yoruba brothers and sisters saying, yes, yes, that's true, because they also use the word ku for death. The T in this case is not actually found in the root word, but it still has a meaning in the Ewe. T stands for tree. You have a T. T is for tree. And then you have te. Te means underneath. Te. And then another possibility for the T is ta. Not ta for head, but this ta means because of. So we have all these possibilities why they would have put the T, they would have added the T to this Alon Baku to indicate that this is the tree that marks it and she is buried underneath. All right. So the name of the place of rest of Rebecca's nurse, Deborah, is called Alon Baku. Alon Baku. And like I said, it means Alon means sleep and Baku means cheat death. So literally they are saying sleep has cheated death. Sleep has cheated death. Why would Yasara call this place by this? Perhaps in her death, Deborah looked as though she was merely sleeping. Have you ever heard of somebody being dead but just looking like they're sleeping? I've heard it. I've heard it before, so I know it's possible. So anyway, that's a possibility. What do you think? That's my opinion of why they would have named this place Alon Baku. And of course, there's a tree there, and we have the letter T to let us know that there is a tree, which is T in Ewe or a T. We have arrived at the end of this presentation, video number 10. So these are the references that I used. Anyway, so I hope you've been blessed through this teaching. I thank the Most High Yah. Yajira Nami. Blessings to you.